So let's imagine we finished the design of our building. It's built and it's handed over to the client. Is all, or there is some need also for facades to be commissioned?
This is a really good point because the facade commissioning, it's something that it exists today, but it's not required by law, at least in Italy. I think also in Europe is like this, unless there is a specific requirement by the client, or you want to certify your building according to a specific protocol like LEED or WELL. So in that case, the facade commissioning helps in getting credits for the certification. Let's say that in general, the facade commissioning is a procedure that should guarantee the client that the facade performance meeting the requirements from the design. So it's something that should be really important to be done in the reality.
Give me an example of performances that we may have commissioned them.
Yeah, so at the moment, the most, let's say, common procedure for commissioning related to the facade are the check of the air tightness, the wind and water tightness, acoustic, and the thermal bridge check, so with the IR camera. But these aspects, let's say, do not cover all the facade functionality, performance and functionality. In fact, if you think if there is a control of the shading system, then this usually is not checked if the functionality meets the requirement. So the functionality, the performance in terms of thermal and optical behavior, these are requirements that usually are not checked during the commissioning.
And if we could do it, what would make sense to do then for solar and daylight?
So from the, let's say, solar, so energy point of view, we can do similar measurement to the one that we do in the lab. So we can measure heat flux, but we can also measure temperature of the glazing. Like, for example, we are doing now in this on this facade, which also gives a proxy of how much heat flux is coming inside. So you can, from one side, it's better, let's say, if you have the possibility to measure directly the heat flux or the parameter that you want to measure. But sometimes where you don't have, let's say, the instrument available, the equipment or whatever, it's possible also to use proxy to get at least a sense of what is happening. So this is for sure something that is useful.
But it's more for the energy performance.
This is more for the energy performance, exactly. From the lighting and visual comfort, there are also possibilities of measurement, for example, of the internal illuminance, but also the glare itself. So using HDR cameras, you can take picture of a specific position and then analyze the data to get if the facade is, let's say, providing glare or not.
I see another sensor over there.
Yes, that's is to check the opening of the window. Since in this office we can open the window, so it's very good to have also registered the opening of the windows, because when we check the data, for example, of the air temperature inside, if we see strange behavior in the change of the temperature, then we can correlate to the opening of the system. So let's say that the possibility are a lot in terms of what parameter you want to measure, but then it's also important to, let's say, the trade-off between all the things that you measure and what you need in the end for having a building that operates in a high-performance way. Let's say that then there is a difference between the sensor that's used for commissioning, that maybe it's more
Practical.
Practical. You go there, you do the measurement. It can also last 1 week or 1 month according to what you have to measure. There is another set of sensors which are, let's say, also cheaper and smaller, like this one, so you don't have a wire going around, that used for the actual monitoring of the building, because also checking the building functionality during its lifetime is very important to verify if it is performing in the correct way also during its life, of course, so during the operation.
Do you envision then that we should move progressively towards a general practice where continuous monitoring is mainstream, is implemented in buildings?
Yes, definitely. It's very important for too many reasons. So the first reason is that with the monitoring, we can ensure that the building is working as expected. So it helps from one side in providing comfort to the user, but also in keeping the consumption of the building in the range expected. So we don't have too much solar gain, for example.
Then to ensure that the building is actually sustaining energy performance.
Exactly. And on the other side, the monitoring can support the building owner and facility manager in checking if something is not working.
Yeah.
So it works like an alert. So for detection, it's an alert. It tells me, for example, if this temperature is too high, I know that there is too much gain in a room that maybe is without a person inside. So I'm cooling a part of the building which is not necessary in that moment or in that day. Right. So it really can help in management from one side and in the maintenance. So it can allow to save money on the bill itself, but also in the maintenance.
Nice. So very interesting. Thank you so much. You're welcome.